Hello, everybody. This is Jesse Whitedeer, come to you live on the Needless Potatoes podcast with your host, Jesse Whitedeer. Hey, that's me. My guest today is DJ Bryant from Oberon, and we sit down and we talk about how the band began, members, how we met, practice spaces, kind of getting their start, all that good stuff. And we kind of dive in a little bit of Metallica, favorite bands, favorite movies, a little bit of Jason X, and we wrap it up with pro wrestling there at the end. So it's a little bit fun for everybody. Hope you guys enjoy. This will be the first episode and a long line of episodes that I got for you. Hopefully they'll be coming out every week. That's the plan anyways. But yeah, so stick around. It'll be me talking to one of my really good friends, and we kind of just get into a whole range of topics. So thanks guys for listening, and please stick around. All right, here we are in DJ's house in this scary room he has.
Yeah, are you ready to die?
A little bit.
You thought we were doing a podcast.
But everyone, this is the first episode of White Deer Entertainment Podcast.
Branching out.
So, you know.
It's all about branding.
I think so.
Yeah. You're like Gene Simmons of the entertainment world.
I'm going to sue people for hand signals and copyright them.
Yes. The devil horns?
Yeah. Right.
I thought you just said in general. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I'm going to sue all of the, what is it, ALS people?
ASL.
ASL, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Age, sex, location.
That too.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. What's up?
So, you playing Oberon, right?
I think so. You've been there. You get confused for Adam all the time.
I think it's a dream that, like...
I wish it was a dream.
Well, it's a dream worth living.
Yeah.
Anyways, so, for the viewer, or for the listeners at home, how'd you guys all come together?
Let's see. So, I used to play in a band called Initium. It was the first band.
Who was in that band?
It was me, Chris Bennett, who was the other founder of the band, Jeremy Carell, and Zach Adams.
Okay.
So yeah, it was quite an interesting lineup.
So Jeremy Wingard wasn't in the band yet.
No.
He was your roadie, right?
Yeah. So I'm trying to. We went to Votech together. We were in the same class. It didn't necessarily go together. We just ended up being in the same class, and we kind of became friends that way, and just kind of realized we kind of liked the same music and stuff. And he started coming to shows, and then before you know it, the first band, Initium, was breaking up, and Chris, who was also in the band, he started playing drums. And me and him were just started jamming, and then I asked Jeremy one day, "Hey, you want to come jam with us?" And then we just started writing music. And then after that, let's see, we played our first show, and Logan, he was not in the band yet for our very first show.
Logan Wood, right?
Logan Wood, the drummer, he was actually helping set up the show and run sound and everything, because he just happened to come over one day to Chris's old place because he lived in a duplex.
That's what he told you, but secretly he was just in the house.
I think so, yeah. And this is all how we met you too, because you were friends with Logan somehow.
It all blurs together.
Yeah.
Now I think actually the first time I ever met you was when I went on a date with my ex-girlfriend.
Yes.
And I went to Blue Moon.
Yeah.
And you were there.
Yes, I was there, and I'm still there right now.
But I'd also, in high school, I had heard about you from...
Oh, yeah.
We're not going to say his name.
Yeah. Yeah. Some wild times back then.
Yeah, so I heard about that. But even before then, I think I had heard people talk about DJ Bryant. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, that's a weak DJ name. So I thought you were like a literal DJ.
You'd be surprised how many times people ask me, oh, like a DJ? Yeah, you idiot. DJ Bryant.
So I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
And but here we are.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, but so I think the very first time I ever seen you was you were making sandwiches in your underwear at Chris's house, I think.
There's a lot of times okay, so yeah. There's a lot of times I was in my underwear.
And then we, I think that was the same party that somebody parked their car outside and then everyone just thrashed it, right?
Okay, so you're talking about that time. Okay, that was me and Chris's place. Yeah, it was a ex-girlfriend of mine. She had left her car there, and it had been there for months at this point. And I go out. Somebody comes inside and says, "Oh, somebody smashed in the window." Turns out it was that person. I won't speak of them because they're family.
So they were just like,
and then yeah. And then next thing you know, everybody's smashing it. Yeah. So was that the first time you were there? One of the times. One of the times, because like I said, it all blurs together. Yeah. But I think me and my friend Matt, I picked him up, and he I assisted him in drop kicking the door in. Oh yeah. And then we proceeded to party the rest of the night. But I think someone peed on it. And then probably someone took a poo on the windshield. Maybe. But yeah, so, and I think that was around the same time I met Jeremy, because I was over there randomly, as you do. Yeah. And he just kind of appeared out of your closet, and I was like, okay. Oh, did he? He just came out of your room, and I was like, oh yeah, all right. We practiced over there for a short amount of time, and that's kind of how Logan became part of the band. So what can you give in depth about practice spaces, like how crucial the right practice space is for a band? Yeah. And can you talk about a little bit about the history of your practice spaces? Oh boy. So we actually started, let me think for a second. I think we actually started in a old rundown house that my parents had originally bought because they were going to rebuild it. Well, years went by and that didn't happen. So we tore down a wall and we just started practicing in it. And that's really where Oberon first started. And then we moved into this house where we are right now recording this podcast before we moved it here, and practiced here. And then we practiced in a small shack out behind a couple buddies that we had, their place. Very small kind of space, probably as big as about this room, probably about, what would you say, 12 by 12? I don't know, pretty small. And then we moved back here to this house again in the master bedroom, and it was nice. And then we finally moved our location where we are now to Logan's place in a nice, much bigger room. It's pretty important because stuff starts to get cluttered really fast. It gets really loud really fast. Which, by the way, everybody, wear your earplugs, because I'm only 29, but I can feel it now. I wish I'd been wearing earplugs this whole time. I sound like an old person now, but... Well, especially playing next to Logan's drums for all those years. Oh, yeah. Just him beating on them like a Neanderthal. I think he does that anyways. Yeah. I've lived with a guy multiple times, and I think I just would walk in and he would just be beating his drums, beating random things. Yeah. Just, Yeah. I don't want to know, what kind of things he's beating. Well, hopefully not people. I don't know. Himself. So you guys start Initiate. Initium, sorry. Yeah, fucking. Oh, can we curse on this? You can say what you want. Okay. You can say, so what about sponsors? Well, too late for that now. Hello Fresh. Oh, wait, you're probably going to have to cut that out now. What'd you say? Hello Fresh. I don't know what that is. Okay, never mind. Let's not speak of it. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's that food service where comes in the mail and then you make it. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about a Butcher Box. That's another one. Oh, okay. That sounds scary. Is that prepared by Jason Voorhees? Possibly. I think Jason Voorhees. That's the best of the series. We won't go there.
I forgot how shitty that movie is.
No, it's great. It's great. Especially whenever he beats the girls in the sleeping bags.
I think my favorite part of that movie is when that android gets an upgrade in quotations, and she shoots him with all those weapons and then like blows his head off.
Mm-hmm.
And then he somehow gets reanimated.
Mm-hmm.
And he's only Super Jason for like, what, 10 minutes? 5 minutes?
I don't know. I can't remember. It's been literally...
Do you try to forget that movie?
No, I just... It's been like over 10 years since I've seen it, so...
Okay, that's fair. So, but then he punches the android's head off. And then like...
Yeah.
That's towards the end of the movie.
I remember somebody getting their head put in dry ice or something like that and smashed. It was frozen and smashed. So I remember that.
Who knows?
But the classic scene of the girls in the sleeping bags and he's like beating them. Yeah.
They're like, you want to smoke some pot? Or
Yes.
have some premarital sex?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So that's what I picture Logan doing.
Okay, yes.
On a nightly
Yeah.
basis.
Jesus. That's why he's in the band.
I mean,
We saw he had potential.
right. So, Initium,
Mm-hmm.
then Oberon, you guys practice. When do you remember your first show being? When and when?
Well, I didn't even... So... I didn't even finish the whole story, you know.
Oh, well,
Logan
sorry.
became part of the band, and then, What, you want to leave Adam out? And you still pretend that you're him?
Yes.
Yes. So, and then Logan just happens to run into Adam at a bar one night.
Randomly.
Yeah. And then just hit him. I said, hey, you want to try out in the band on bass? He's like, yeah. And he came over when we was playing in that little shack. And ever since then, it's been Oberon.
So you guys haven't told him he's officially in.
No, not
He's just
yet.
been following you around.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Exactly.
So, first show.
So the first show without them?
Well, with Oberon, with the current lineup.
With the current lineup. That was in March of 2011, and we played at the, it was called the Greenhouse Project, that ECU did their, I think, audio-visual class put on. And they had this whole little room set up, sound stage, and had a limited number of seats where people could come. Were you at that show?
I wasn't.
Oh.
I went to, I think it was your second show where it was at the Village Bar.
Oh. Was that our second show?
I can't remember. I think that was somebody's second show. Because it was you guys, and then that was one of the first times I talked to Adam.
That was close to being probably one of our very first shows.
Because I think you guys played a house party around that time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Okay.
Logan's ex-girlfriend's place.
Oh,
I think. Was that the same time?
No, I think.
We played a lot of house parties back then.
Yeah, because I remember you guys played one at her parents' house.
Yes.
But that was still early in
Yeah.
the band, but I don't think that was the second one.
Yeah.
But I remember the Village show.
Yeah.
Just
It's so weird. By the way, the Village is a country, like red dirt kind of bar / club. Okay, so it wasn't like they had too many bands like us come through there.
Yeah. They
But
don't have a lot of positive things go through there.
Yeah, no. Maybe
But,
AIDS.
Well, yeah.
JK.
No,
Couldn't resist.
I think the last time I was at the Village, and this was 4 years ago, so maybe they've changed, I don't know. But there were like a group of like these dudes playing pool, and then they were high-fiving, and then they were like just casually yelling white power.
Oh, yeah.
They were just high five, white power, man, white power. I was like, oh.
You just got to understand comedy, bro.
Apparently I don't.
Yeah, aren't you a comedian now?
Well, yes.
White Deer comedy.
White Deer everything. White
Yeah.
Deer condoms. White Deer tissue paper.
Why not?
White Deer plastic spinning rims.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Plastic?
Yeah, the ones you buy at Walmart. You can just with skulls on them.
Oh, okay.
But they have deer skulls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyways, so you guys play that show. Can you name some of your favorite places to play?
One of the very first clubs we ever played was the Railhead Saloon in Lawton.
Which you guys are playing this weekend?
Yeah, we played this Saturday, actually. It's our first show back there in like a year, I think. It's been a while. But it's definitely one of our favorite places to play.
Was it because of all the random stories you guys have? The guy with the notepad, and then
It's just a great place. Like, great people, fun times. We've met a lot of people there. We met great bands there. People show up. That's one big thing. It's just people go there to watch shows. So you can't find that too often. Another place that's like that, though, is the Blue Note in OKC. It's another one of my favorite places to play. Just great people. Let's see. I'm trying to think of Wits End in Dallas, Texas. That's another great place to play.
What, J&J's Pizza?
J&J's in Denton. Yeah, that's great. And I'm actually really excited because Friday the 13th next week, December, we are playing at Rubber Gloves in Denton, Texas.
Yeah, Alex from Monogamizer told me they found a dead body over there.
Oh.
He when I went down to Denton to visit. I think it was for Cramp Fest, or I forgot what it was. But I was hanging out with Alex, and I think Alex and Randall maybe, and we were driving around. And no, it was Alex and his friend. Yeah. So we were driving around, and Alex would just be like, "Hey man, some guy died there, or this mattress store, some guy was murdered there."
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, all right. I barely know this dude, and he's just telling me all the murder spots. So I was like, oh,
why not?
Yeah.
We we went and watched The Sword there many years ago. Okay. Yeah. It was probably, it had to be like 2009, I think.
Was this for Medium Country?
No. No. This was, I don't even think Warp Riders had come out yet. I'm pretty sure it hadn't. So, yeah, it was me and Jeremy and my cousin Josh. We went, and there was an ice storm, snowstorm. And you know how that gets around here. It's like the roads all freeze. Well, we decided, oh no, we're still going to drive down there.
Why wouldn't you?
I tell you what, coming back was not the funnest time of my life. I'm pretty sure the traction light came on every 5 seconds coming home.
Lord. I vaguely remember that time you guys played the Railhead, and you were the only band that made it during like an ice storm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was like 2 other bands that canceled, but you guys were the only ones
that
were going to go in the bus, which is already like a death trap. But we were going to drive down there to play to just the locals.
Yeah.
Another good Railhead story is when me and Logan went to visit some friends of ours down there. Our friend Angela, she had a birthday, or it was for her birthday party. And everybody went to the Railhead to pregame. And you know how they have that jukebox there?
Mm-hmm.
We played nothing but like Britney Spears and Backstreet Boys.
Oh, yeah.
And Hall & Oates. And
that's the best thing. It's just like, you don't play metal because you're going to hear metal all night.
Yeah, right.
So you want to play like DMX or like you said, Hall & Oates.
So I think we chose Backstreet's Back, everybody.
Oh, okay.
And this, I just vaguely remember this really robust metalhead with like a leather vest and mohawk, and he was just like, fucking this pussy shit with the Railhead. It was like, I think his hand was surgically.
Oh yeah, in the shape of devil horns.
And devil horns.
He got his 2 middle fingers cut out.
I think they just glued him down.
Oh, okay, like, yeah.
Why fucking not? Pussy shit at the Railhead. and then and he would he wouldn't talk shit to us, but he would like talk shit about us in the vicinity.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just weird. And
yeah.
then we just played it even more. And shit really was popping when what was it? Oh hell. Can't remember the name of that Hall & Oates song. Out of Time, I think. Out of Touch.
Out of Touch. Oh my God, bro.
I'm sorry.
I can't believe you did me like that.
So Out of Touch came on, and we proceeded to party heavy.
Hell yeah.
And it's pissed him off even more. But anyways, back on track. Can you talk about some of the bands you guys like playing with? I know that you guys are big fans of Silver Tongue Devil?
Yes.
Down
Love
Dallas.
those guys, yeah.
Diesel Beast?
Yes, love them.
Weiser?
Yes, love them. Bunch of Denton, Dallas bands, yeah.
Right.
Crowbone.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Turbo Wizard.
Okay.
There's so many, and I feel bad if I don't mention anybody, but...
Letters to a Friend?
Yeah. Man, we haven't played with them in a long time. But
I think the last time you guys played that was that Halloween show down there, right?
in Seminole?
In Seminole, yeah.
Probably, yeah. That's some years ago, yeah.
And I remember that show because the rhythm guitarist at the time, I'm not going to say his name,
Yeah.
but he just randomly during that show, he told me that he did MMA fights in people's backyards. And I was like, okay. I don't know what to do with that information.
Yeah.
And then he also, I complimented his guitar. You know, I said, hey, man, you play guitar real well.
Yeah.
You strum that thing really good.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I know. And I was like, one of those guys.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, booking and promoting and stuff like that, I appreciate that if you're confident in yourself. When you're just like a mediocre...
tool?
Well, yeah. When you're a mediocre guitarist
Mm-hmm.
and you don't want to get better
Mm-hmm.
and you think that you're as good as you're going to be right now or at that moment, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Tough to hear.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah. so Letters to a Friend, Crowbone,
Yeah.
Turbo Wizard,
Yeah.
Silver Tongue Devil,
Yeah.
Diesel Beast.
Yeah. Which I have to say, so Silver Tongue Devil is like probably one of the bands that we've been playing with the longest and like continually keep on playing with them. We just love those guys.
Oh yeah, man.
And I have to give a shout out to Craig from Silver Tongue Devil and Carrick from Diesel Beast because they have their own podcast.
Warlord Radio.
Yeah, which I listen to every week, and so should you. But I'm actually kind of disappointed because you guys have, I hope you're listening, you've slacked off on mentioning me or Oberon, and that upsets me.
Yeah, there was like, what?
Yeah, there were several episodes in a row.
Like 13 episodes.
I think they're actively trying to avoid it now.
Well,
Consciously.
I think they had you on the podcast, and then they were like, okay, well, we don't got to talk about him anymore.
But they still brought me up.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been listening. Yeah. And,
well, no. I take that back because
when Randall was on,
yeah,
I talked about
it. Wasn't, but I mean, shout outs to Randall Day. But he mentioned you and I, and he said that we should do a wrestling podcast.
Yeah.
Which we should.
Yeah, we have to.
And I think that Craig needs to watch Cactus Jack's best moments. Or he at least needs to watch when Undertaker threw Mankind off Hell in a
He needs to watch at least WrestleMania 17.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
So, but no. So, he mentioned you then, but.
Yeah. Yeah, those guys are great.
Yeah. So, where are you looking to play, like outside of in the next coming year?
A lot of places out of Oklahoma, hopefully. More Texas, Colorado, Kansas, Nebraska, Arkansas.
And you guys have played Kansas before, right?
One time at the Elbow Room in Wichita, which was a great place. I'd love to go back. So.
And who was that with?
That was with Yellow King and Carcinogen Racehorse. Mm-hmm. And.
Which rest in peace, Robbie, by the way.
Yes.
Robbie's a good dude.
Yes.
Or was a good dude.
And I can't think of.
I think that was it.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so that was the only Kansas show. And I know that, which shout outs to not being without Lucid Awakening, because they've played up that way a lot too.
Yeah.
Shout out to those guys.
Yeah, those are two other bands. I'm glad you.
Yeah, Being Without, Lucid Awakening.
Yes, two great instrumental prog bands.
Oh, hell yeah. And then another one is Bug Knock.
Oh, yeah.
Who I recently just did a show with. Killer two-man band.
Yeah, they had hit us up about playing that show, and unfortunately we weren't able to do it, but had a good time. Good show.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Stellar show. Stonewolf played that night as well.
Oh, yes. Another great band, yes.
Yeah.
I'm ready to play with those guys again.
Because you guys played with them down at, what was it?
The Fuzz Fest.
Fuzz Fest, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully which becomes an annual thing.
And that was in Arlington, right?
Yes, it was at Division Brewing slash The Growl, which is like a slash comic book slash CD vinyl store where they just have shows at. And it's small and intimate, and you play on the floor, which I love doing, by the way. Mm-hmm. It's just, you feel more, like you can have 5 people standing in front of you, and you feel like you have a whole room. I love that.
And used to be Brea. It's not Brea. I'm sorry, not Brea.
Yeah, Brea was a long time ago. We toured with those guys. Oh, Sunlander.
Sunlander.
Is another band that we love playing with, which they've had many iterations, basically.
Yeah, they were Deadweight at one point.
Deadweight, and then Grell, and now Sunlander, with a few changes in between member-wise. But yeah, they're like our sister band. If I had to pick a sister band.
So you guys are the brother, they're the sister.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, my older sister used to torture me growing up. So.
Yeah, I would too.
Well, I mean,
that's what siblings do, man.
Yeah, but so kind of changing gears here. What are you listening to? I know you're a huge fan of the Danzig.
Yeah, Danzig, Misfits.
I mean, now's your time to gush over that if you want.
I mean, I wouldn't be playing music if it wasn't for Danzig, really.
What about him specifically inspired you to play music?
I wouldn't say so much inspired me. It was just so listening to the Misfits. I fell in love with it, and it was easy power chords, easy stuff to play, like really easy. And my best friend, Nico, who lives in Massachusetts, he actually ended up teaching me how to play guitar over the phone. And he would say, all right, stick your finger here and hit it this many times, and then move your finger here and do it this many times. And I was like, okay. And slowly, I learned like some Misfit songs. Then I learned like Twist of Cain by Danzig, which is like one of the easiest songs to learn.
Killer track.
And then next thing you know, like weeks later, I'm learning how to play like Raining Blood. I was like, which seems like at the time like the most complicated song possible, but it's amazing. And like it's one of those songs where you learn and you're like, yeah, I'm badass.
I'm disappointed that you guys haven't covered Raining Blood.
I know,
because I'm a huge Slayer fan.
I know.
And
rest in peace.
Yeah, right. Rest in peace. They just had their last show a few days ago. So.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Which, if I had all the money in the world, I would have been there.
Yeah.
Well, I'd seen them at Zoo Amphitheater. Yeah.
At least you got to see them.
So that was fun. Got to hold up for those of you that don't know, I have a denim vest with a Jeff Henneman on the back. And I held that up, and then Gary Holt threw a pick at me. And then
nice.
So that was kind of my moment.
Yeah.
I like also while, oh, fuck. Can't think of their names.
Behemoth?
No. Napalm Death.
Oh.
I don't know. I forgot that. While Napalm Death was playing, because they were the opening band, I seen Tom and Carrie, and I did the double horns, and they did it back. So,
oh, look out.
Yeah.
You can say things are getting serious.
Yeah. Moving places. Moving on up. So
yeah.
I did that, and that was real cool. And then because they ended with Seasons of the Abyss, so held up my jacket. Gary Holt threw the pick at me. Tom came over, he looked, and he kind of gave me the nod, like, all right.
You're like, oh yeah.
Yeah. So
I know that feeling.
So I was like, all right, this is it.
Yeah.
But so Danzig, what are some other bands? I know
one that the shirt you're wearing right now, which Leftover Crack.
Yeah,
they're actually another band that really inspired me growing up too.
We seen them with our good buddy Christian at
at the 89th Street on Halloween.
Yeah.
So
and we weren't dressed up.
No, not many people were. I think maybe one.
So, well, there were
surprisingly
there were a few, but yeah.
But it was an awesome show. It was probably one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Was it only awesome because that guy busted that light bulb above your head?
Oh no, I wish he wouldn't have.
Or that guy standing behind you.
Oh, that was the weird.
The guy standing behind you doing the Joker smile the whole night.
With his hands in his pockets. in the pit. In the pit. Okay.
But I know you're a fan of Baroness.
Oh, well, yeah, Baroness. So it's like Danzig, and then it's Baroness, and they're like right there on the same level. So
And then the
My
Sword.
two favorite bands, yeah.
Early Sword.
Unfortunately, yeah, Sword is currently no more. Sword used to be like my favorite band up there with Danzig and Baroness. I mean, their first 4 albums are like up there with still some of my favorite albums. Gods of the Earth is probably still like top 5. Witchcraft, Caveller Talk, which are coming out with a new album. Like Kylesa, Torch, Mastodon's a big one. Gojira is another big one.
All right. Sorry about that. Had some technical issues.
Yeah.
But anyways,
we're talking about bands.
Yeah, we're talking about your favorite bands.
Yeah.
So, the Sword, Mastodon.
Oh, yeah, we was talking about Sword, Mastodon.
Witchcraft.
Witchcraft. One you brought up a minute ago, Ghost.
Yeah, so I brought up Ghost like during the...
Because I have a poster. It's with Opeth, Mastodon, and Ghost, which was a great show.
Yeah, so we were talking about Ghost, the first album, which was, we both agree, is killer album.
I love the first album. I love the second album.
So, second album's great. I was telling DJ that Square Hammer, it's not a bad single. I mean...
I really just like the first 2 albums. I've tried listening to the other ones. The other ones have just been kind of more generic for me.
That's fair, yeah. Well, it's they're one of those bands that you really want to like, and you get into them, and they tease you with the first 2 albums.
Mm-hmm.
The first 2 albums are killer. They're great. Mm-hmm. Zombie Queen, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Year Zero, Ritual.
Yeah. Satan's Prayer.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then you kind of get into the later albums, and it's like,
yeah, it just kind of became that way. Sadly, a lot of bands end up becoming that way. But
yeah, but I mean, like, you're also a fan of Metallica, and
yeah,
do you like generally most Metallica?
The only Metallica I don't like is Load and Reload, except for a few songs. But it's those 2 albums. No matter how many times I've tried to listen to them, I just can't. I just don't like them. They're very generic to me and very
You're a
bland.
fan of Garage Inc.?
Yeah, I love Garage Inc.
Oh, all right.
Growing up, yeah, it has some of my favorite covers on it. Period.
I don't hear that usually. Well, I'm not the...
How are you thinking about Saint Anger?
Well, no, I hear people...
Garage Inc. has great covers. It's like one of the best covers album of all time.
I mean, I'm just telling you what I hear.
Tell me one other covers album that tops it. Exactly. Other than Johnny Cash.
Well, yeah. I mean, Johnny Cash is the GOAT. So.
Yeah.
But
I even love Saint Anger.
Really?
Yeah, Saint Anger was actually the first Metallica album I got into. Yeah. Growing up, this was like, whenever I was like 15 or so, I didn't understand it. Mm-hmm. Like, I heard like Master of Puppets. I was like, oh, okay. That ain't no Saliva or POD. Get out of my freaking ears. And then one day I watched Some Kind of Monster documentary.
That's when they went to therapy.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know, it just got me interested in them. Like a TV show. It almost got me like interested in the characters and stuff. And then I was like, okay, now let me go. I really got into like Saint Anger and Sweet Amber and stuff like that. I was like, wow, these are really good. And then next thing you know, I'm listening to like Kill 'Em All and Master of Puppets and Injustice for All and Ride the Lightning. And I was like, holy shit.
Seek and Destroy?
Yes, this is all so good. And I still love it. And I've seen Metallica 3 times now.
Okay.
Got to sing with James Hetfield. And so...
I think for me, because I was more or less the same way, because I didn't get... So I'll tell that story in a second, but... the only clip that I've seen from Some Kind of Monster was when Lars misspelled Metallica. He spelled it as a Metlica.
Yeah.
And it just fucking pissed James off. And he was like, Metlica. And then, of course, I went back and watched the whole thing. Yeah. And I mean, I like some Metallica. Mm-hmm. Now, I will say... if you're a fan of like thrash metal, or you're a fan of like this metal and speed metal in general, you can't dispute the first 2 albums. Really, the first 3 albums. If you
not at all.
But the first 2 albums are fucking killer.
Yeah.
Because that is what thrash metal should be. Mm-hmm. And for me, I think that Metallica, with those, especially those first 2 albums, they created the subgenre of thrash metal. of course, you had like punk and you had kind of
Yeah, I mean, you had other bands who were thrash metal before Metallica were.
But for me, they
made it to what it was.
Yeah,
I think,
exactly.
as big as it was.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, of course, you have Slayer and you have Testament and you have Anthrax and Biohazard. You have all these really killer thrash metal bands, but for me, those first two Metallica albums are where it's at. And of course, it's hit or miss. Like the last few
albums.
Yeah,
I love Death Magnetic. It's one of my favorite. Yeah,
okay.
I love Death Magnetic.
I didn't like that as much. I liked what was it?
Hardwired
to Self-Destruct.
Yeah, I felt like a lot of songs on that. They had really good parts and everything, but they just went on too long.
I loved the guitars. I love the instrumentals in Spit Out the Bone.
Oh, Spit Out the Bone's not instrumental though.
No, I know, but I
Oh, you loved instrumentals and Spit Out the Bone's my favorite song off the.
Yeah. But I'm not a fan of James's lyrics per se, and I'm not a fan of his vocals on that song. But as far as the other parts of that song are fucking killer, especially that guitar riff at the beginning of it. And Moths to Flame, like Moths to Flame.
Oh yeah,
is another one.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad album.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I think it's what Metallica fans wanted, and for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and it was definitely a nod to some of their earlier albums. I feel like. So that wasn't a bad one.
Yeah, it was good. It's better than Load and Reload. That's all I asked for, and it's better than their. What am I trying to think of with Lou Reed? Their album they did with Lou Reed. I can't either.
We'll edit that part out when we come up with the answer. So also, as far as like TV shows, like what are you into? Movies, TV shows? I know you're a fan of Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah, those movies. Yeah, classic. Yeah, those classic slashers that I grew up on. I was born in '90, so. Those movies were still like really huge in the 90s and stuff.
Are you just a fan of Halloween H2O with Coolio?
I love H2O.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was saying that jokingly.
It's one of my favorites of the series. It's not really a high bar.
Okay.
Because, Halloween and Halloween 2, I love both of those. And it's funny that you mentioned this because I just finally rewatched Halloween 4 and Halloween 5 recently, and I'm like, oh God. But I still love them just for the fact, because it's Halloween. So you get, it's like a guilty pleasure. But H2O is one. And I love the new sequels that have come out.
Now, real quick though, I will say, at least Michael Myers was never in space.
It needs to happen.
I think that's the next one. They're going to partner with
why not? Yeah,
the Fast and Furious. And it's Fast and Furious 20.
Yeah, Michael Myers is going to be in it somehow.
Yeah, he's going to be racing.
Eventually Disney's going to own everything, so you can do whatever you want.
I mean, Disney, hit us up.
Yeah.
but no, so the newest Halloween is supposed to be the quote unquote sequel to the original one, right?
So the one that came out last year in 2018, it was the sequel to the first Halloween.
And then so they're saying Halloween 2 didn't exist.
Exactly.
Okay.
Did not exist.
And that's a lot like the newest Terminator, Dark Fate.
Oh yeah.
Is they're saying that it's a sequel to Judgment Day.
Oh, okay.
And then
nothing else exists.
Yeah.
Which so many people get upset about this kind of stuff, and it's like you don't have to accept it. It's not going to change it for you. You can still believe whatever you want to believe. You can still go off of the originals if you want. You don't have to go off of these. And so many people get upset with remakes and stuff like that. I'm just like, no one's forcing you to watch it. I don't know.
Well, I think people get possessed about that kind of stuff, and they want, and it's this thing where if you don't like it, then you it's a personal attack on them, or you don't like them, or you don't, value their opinion or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I think that you get that with, I got that with the Terminator movie, because I was a fan of Dark Fate. I even like Genesis. I like the idea, but it was just too much, going too many directions. Salvation was okay.
Yeah.
Terminator 3 was, yeah.
I think Salvation might be the last one I watched, honestly.
Yeah, that's the one with Christian Bale.
I mean, all you need is 2. Terminator 2, man. That's all you need.
Well, and real quick, Terminator 2 is also the name of a Killer Denton band. So, which is like the coolest name, I think.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
It's just Terminator 2. It's no Terminator 1.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I mean, but yeah. So, all right. Pro wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
We both love pro wrestling.
Yeah.
How'd you get into pro wrestling?
I think like any 90s kid did. It was just
Attitude
on
Era?
TV.
Okay.
You were just like, it's weird to think about, because how, like, do you think about the first day you watched it? Because it's like, I'm trying to think.
Because your brothers were a fan of wrestling.
So this is how it started. What I remember, me and my cousin would watch WCW all the time. He would come over and we would watch it, and that's what I watched for a long time. And then I remember one day, I went to my brother's room and he was watching WWF.
This was Andrew?
No, my brother Josh.
Okay.
And I would be like, I was watching, I was like, whoa, who are these chicks? I saw the chicks, and then it just seemed more, I don't know how to put it, just more like edgy, I guess you would say. And I mean, I love WCW, and I always thought it was cool whenever people would throw stuff in the rings and stuff. And I thought it was awesome. Like, are you part of the Wolf Pack, or are you part of the NWO?
LWO?
Yeah. Like, who are you with? Like, that was one thing in school. Like, all the kids were like, who are you with? Who do you stand by?
It was like a little gang.
Yeah. But no, and then once I started watching WWF, it became that a lot more all the time than WCW. I still watch WCW, but WWF was where it was at. And then, I even watched with my younger sisters too. And we would like we would wrestle and everything after we got done watching. So I would just like suplex them and everything, powerbomb them on the couch. Because yeah, that's one of the best things about having younger siblings, was being able to do that.
Well, I think that for me, I don't know what match in particular, but I do remember, because that was in '98. I do remember when Undertaker threw Mankind up Hell in a Cell. Mm-hmm. But I remember before that, because I would watch, kind of like you, like I remember WCW, and I remember like La Parka and Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero and all those cruiserweights. Mm-hmm. So that was probably 96, I think. 96, 97. So that was at the start of like the Attitude Era.
What do you consider the start of the Attitude Era?
Well, okay, so like I consider probably 96.
Okay.
I think some people would say 95.
I think most people say 97. I think most people say the start was the Montreal Screwjob. Okay, whenever a lot of people say that, or whenever Brett and Stone Cold had their match.
Yeah,
and that was the double turn.
Yeah,
Brett became a heel and Stone Cold became a face.
Yeah, because Brett had Stone Cold
in the
sharpshooter.
Yep.
Because that was so backstory about that was a submission only match, and Stone Cold had told the creative that hell, like I don't have a submission hold as a finisher, and I think prior to that time he had been the $1 Million Man's valet, or had been one of his goons. Mm-hmm. So there was talk about him doing the $1 Million, chokehold, his sleeper hold. Yeah. But I'm not sure what exactly happened. So they said, okay, well, just go out there, have a good match.
And they didn't want to make him look weak either.
Yeah, exactly. So that actually was put in right before they went out. was okay. Well, you're going to pass out.
Yeah.
Because if you can get the visual, as like a 6-year-old, 7-year-old kid, you're watching Bret Hart, who was a good guy this whole time.
Yeah.
And he's got Stone Cold in that sharpshooter, and Stone Cold's yelling, he's screaming, he's bleeding, and he just passes out.
Yeah.
So in your mind, you're like, God damn.
Yeah. And then Bret beats him up afterwards.
Yeah, beats him up, and then so then he's a heel, which I liked Bret as a heel. I think that Bret Hart is definitely one of the most.
He could play either way.
Yeah, exactly, and I think, and Stone Cold is, to me, Stone Cold's never even really been a heel.
No, he never has.
Because he's just too cool to be a bad guy. Because
no one's ever going to hate him.
Exactly.
Ever.
And even when he's flipping off Vince McMahon and he's hitting him with a bedpan, doing all this stuff, doing all this stuff, is like, you can't really hate the guy.
No, you can't.
Same thing with The Rock, because like The Rock is just...
He tried to be heel, and then people loved him too much for it. Yeah.
And my favorite part about that whole thing is when he did the first Rock concert, and he did it in Toronto, I believe.
Yeah.
And he's just like shitting all over him, and he did the same thing in Sacramento.
Yeah.
So I just, how could you hate that kind of guy?
Exactly.
Same thing with Mick Foley.
Yeah.
You just, even as a heel, you can't hate him.
Yeah.
And I think, so I remember WCW, and then I remember going into the Attitude Era, and then I remembered, I was like you, like I started out WCW, and especially the cruiserweights. And I was a fan of, the LWO for sure. And then I remembered it was MIA, something in action.
Yeah.
So I remember that. And then that was the first, like, I think, faction. And then, of course, there was a Conan back then. So, all these definitely, even the minor league guys, they were, over to me. And then kind of transitioning into the Attitude Era, where you're watching, a pimp wrestle a porn star. And then they're a tag team. And then Kane is setting JR on fire.
Yeah.
And, so then all this craziness. And, of course. So are you watching wrestling now? Are you keeping up with it or what?
I keep up with mainly through the What Culture podcast.
Okay.
Or anything on What Culture YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I like to watch the pay-per-views.
Okay.
I usually catch the pay-per-views if I can.
So you're not watching SmackDown or Raw or anything like that?
Well, first of all, I don't have cable. I mean, I have Hulu. I can watch it the next day or whatever, but it's like it can be so bland and bad sometimes that I just can't. I don't think I can get through it.
Well, I mean, for me, I think, because I would watch wrestling religiously up until probably about 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
And I think that was right around the time that John Cena was on his, he started becoming the guy. But after seeing John Cena and Randy Orton and Triple H kind of interchange, it wasn't the same for me. And I just kind of lost interest, and then I was actually out of wrestling for years, up until probably 2000. Because I remembered I would pop in and out when CM Punk was doing his thing.
Yeah.
And then probably about 2012, 2013, I started kind of paying attention a little bit more. And then my old roommate, Cody Baggerly, he introduced me. I think that was with you. Me, you, and Christian went over to...
Yeah, we watched WrestleMania.
Yeah, and that was with... and then...
2 years ago?
3 years ago? Yeah. So that's when I started paying attention more.
Yeah.
And then now, I think wrestling is... It's going through this renaissance where it's cool again.
Yeah.
Because you have WWE, but you also have NXT.
Yeah.
And you have AEW. You have NWA is making a comeback with NWA Power.
Yeah.
Which that's free on YouTube, so definitely check that out. And then, but you have MLW, you have New Japan. So you have all these organizations that a lot of their content is essentially free. It's on YouTube or it's on their app or whatever it is. So I think wrestling's kind of becoming cool again. But one thing I would like to see the WWE do is market more towards the kind of streaming side. Because for me, I think cable is it's on the. It's getting there. Maybe the next 5 years. I don't think anyone's gonna have cable. And
not at our age. It seems like.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, exactly. So that's for me. I think I'm a really big fan of NWA Power, in that it's like an hour and a half, but it's broken up in little segments. So it's almost like you're watching an Instagram video.
Oh yeah,
it's several segments, but everything flows together. There's no stop and start. You don't have any cheesy, comedy or cheesy lines like WWE is doing now.
Oh God,
so
yeah.
it's like, yeah, you don't have any of this fucking dumb shit, and which WWE obviously has its highlights, like Bret Wyatt and The Fiend, and you have Daniel Bryant, and you had Kofi Kingston, and then he got squashed out to Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
So that's something.
Yeah.
But it's just, it doesn't even have to be Attitude Era anymore.
No, the wrestling's really good now. They have really good wrestlers.
Oh,
the wrestling's
absolutely.
great. But wrestling's better than it ever has been. But this, and you can say the Attitude Era, the storylines and stuff, but like they should be better now. Like it changes so drastically from one week to the next. There's no continuity. People who you think are getting pushed that makes sense to be pushed, like when Braun Strowman, after he left the Bray Wyatt family and all that, and he was on his own, and like it was being built up, he was going to face Brock Lesnar and everything. He was huge, but they were still going through this phase where there was going back and forth between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, and everybody hated it. And it was like, give the belt to Braun Strowman. He was huge. Remember whenever he was huge? Mm-hmm. And then what now? He's nobody now.
Well, and then that was the same thing with Daniel Bryant, where you got Daniel Bryant from Ring of Honor, or they say, unquote, quote, he was in the underground, whatever that means. So
the indie scene.
Yeah, the indie scene. So Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, busted his ass, for years. And it's like, he would, and then he got, I think he got let go because he choked Justin Roberts with like a cord or his tie or something. And then he came back. But he's always consistently been a fantastic wrestler. His promos are always good. And so he gets to this point where he's finally champion. They finally put it on him. And then
they take it right back.
Exactly.
Sheamus.
And then he gets that kiss from AJ Lee. And then he gets the brogue kick from Sheamus. And then Sheamus is the... So it's like... None of that
made no sense. They like to piss off the fans.
But it's not even... It's almost like it's I constantly think about when Triple H and Booker T had their feud. Oh. Where you had Triple H saying this borderline racist stuff to Booker T, telling him only, people like you don't get to be world champion. And and he's definitely a good heel.
And Booker T was huge.
Yeah, Booker T was hot. He was huge. And organically, because it was like WWE wasn't really pushing him as much as he should have been. And it's like...
Well, they had to squash all the WCW people.
Yeah,
they said, haha, this is what you get.
Right. So, but then you had Booker T, and he had his organic push, and then he has this main event with Triple H, and then he gets to a point where you think they're going to put the title on him. Triple H hits that pedigree, during their match, and he takes forever to cover him.
Takes like 23 seconds.
Yeah, and then he covers him, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, that would, okay, so where's the payoff? Because it would make sense if you have all Triple H being a borderline racist, saying all this stuff, and then Booker T wins. But no, okay. So then 4 years later, you get to be world champion, which is, and as he's King Booker, which I love Booker T, but that's a goofy gimmick.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, okay. So I feel that same way as, it's like every time I want to believe in WWE, every time I see somebody that should get a push, that should, it's kind of like when, even recently, like when they did the Money in the Bank, and Ali was going to win the title.
Yeah.
And then he gets up and he's about to get it, and then Brock Lesnar comes in.
Oh yeah. Which honestly, I have to say, I loved that.
Did you?
I did. Okay, so you have to get to a point here with WWE where it's just like, you just got to go with it. You're just like, yep, this is it. This makes, and it was funny. Like, I literally laughed out loud whenever I saw it happen. I was like, yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Like, the thing is, Brock Lesnar makes money. Yeah, and that's what they're always going to push is people who make money. Whoever sells the most merchandise. That's what they're doing now. That's what they're always going to do. I mean, have you seen the Fiend belt? The new Fiend belt?
Where it's just his face?
It has his face.
Yeah.
As the belt. You know how much it is?
How much?
$6,000.
Oof.
Yeah.
Like as a replica?
They're making. Yeah, it's like, but I think it's designed, or I'm not sure if each one. I'm not sure how many they're selling. But Tom Savini, the great special effects artist who's worked on tons of horror movies, designed it and everything.
Oh, well,
so
right.
Yeah, but still $6,000.
So it's more of art than it is like an actual replica belt, because by Tom Savini, right?
Yeah, I mean it's a belt.
Yeah.
So, but it looks stupid. It's so stupid.
Well, that's like when Jeff Hardy had his own belt. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Okay, so Jeff Hardy, I think it was in TNA. I think, and he had basically his face on like a belt, and it was like I think purple and green or something.
I don't.
Yeah, so
probably looked terrible.
Oh yeah, but that's kind of what
I said. The smart thing to do would have been, or cooler thing, if they're going to go with something like this, is each time he beats somebody, their face is on it. So if he beat Seth Rollins, his face is on the belt or something like that. It would still look stupid, but at least it would make a little bit more sense, I guess.
Well, and I think something else that would have been cool is if you kind of did more of a Thanos kind of gimmick where, he beats somebody and then, he takes like a stone from them. Quote, and then he puts it on the belt or puts it on his glove or whatever it is. You don't have to do an exact honor. But something like that where he's like the conqueror, where he's the new monster heel.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I do agree that Brock Lesnar is over. He always will be over. He was over in UFC. He's over in,
To be fair, they could have other over people.
Exactly.
Like I said, Braun Strowman, he was hugely over, and they decided to...
Well, the same thing with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt, when he wrestled The Undertaker at WrestleMania, is...
Oh, yes.
If you were going to end the streak at any time, it should have been...
Right then and there, yeah.
Because then you could put Bray Wyatt over. You could say Bray Wyatt is so over that he can beat The Undertaker.
Yep.
He's the world eater. And then you just didn't do it.
Yep.
You could have did the same thing with CM Punk, but you just didn't do it. And then you have Brock Lesnar, who was already over, who was already huge, beat in the streak with Undertaker. And...
Yeah, it really...
Well, and then they kind of redeemed themselves with Roman Reigns, because I'm not a Roman Reigns fan, but if you're going to elevate Roman Reigns, okay, the big dog beat Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
Undertaker, takes off his jacket and his hat. He puts it in the ring. He walks away. He should have just stayed
Which
gone.
made no sense to me. And then he's back. I'm like, what?
And then he wrestles fucking Goldberg in Saudi Arabia. And that match was something.
Well, the one before that, Brothers of Destruction versus DX, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels was...
Bald Shawn Michaels.
Oh, my God.
So that was... that was something. It's kind of like Ric Flair, where when Ric Flair lost to Shawn Michaels, it's like, in my mind, that's Ric Flair's last match.
But then he went to TNA.
Well, yeah. I mean, he wants money, so. But in my mind, that was Ric Flair's last match. So in my mind, when Undertaker lost to Roman Reigns, that's,
Yep.
that's the last match. Anyway.
Should have been.
Should have, but, anyways. All right,
I have to ask you. So, who is your favorite wrestler, like old school wrestler?
Okay. How old school are we talking?
Just they're not wrestling anymore.
They're not wrestling. They're retired.
Or they wrestle, like, barely.
Let's see.
Not full time.
I was always a huge fan of Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, yeah. R.I.P.
Yeah, absolutely. So, because I thought that Eddie Guerrero... Especially that program he had with JBL.
Yeah.
Where I thought Eddie Guerrero possessed all the things that a wrestler should.
Mm-hmm.
He can work. He can either play good guy or bad guy.
Yeah.
His moveset is, it's... there's a lot to it. So he can be a high flyer. He can be a technical wrestler.
Yeah.
He can be a submission guy. He can be like devious where he's, he'll slam a chair on the mat and then toss it in somebody's hand, and then so it's like he had all these elements to him that made him great. And I wish, and especially his win in No Way Out against Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
It's like he's one of the only, I think, a small list of guys to beat Brock Lesnar clean.
Yeah.
And I think that says a lot about him. I was also a huge fan of Kurt Angle.
Oh, yeah, I love Kurt Angle.
Yeah, Kurt Angle's the fucking man. Like, Kurt Angle is like... And Kurt Angle, for those of you who don't know, was an Olympic caliber wrestler.
He won.
Yeah, absolutely.
He has a gold medal.
Gold medalist, yeah. And he came in...
With a broken neck.
broken freaking neck.
Yeah, yeah.
So he came in, and he took to pro wrestling like, I don't think... Like anyone else couldn't have.
Yeah.
And he's a hell of a wrestler. He was funny. So those two, I think, are... And, and of course, like the Stone Cold and the Rocks and stuff like that.
Stone Cold's my all-time favorite.
Well, I mean, I used to hate Stone Cold back in the day.
Oh, my God.
Just because he was the mortal enemy of The Rock. And I was always a Rock fan.
See, those two and Mankind, those are like...
Oh, yeah. Cactus Jack, Mick Foley, Dude Love.
Yeah.
Mick Foley in general. Like, Mick Foley is the fucking man.
Yes.
So those guys. What about you, as far as, like, old wrestling?
Yeah, Mick Foley and The Rock and Stone Cold. I mean, it seems cliche, but they were. And then Sting and Goldberg were my two, like, WCW guys. I loved them.
Did you just say Sting because of Christian?
No, fuck Christian.
But I think Mankind for me was one of those guys where you don't appreciate, or at least for me, I didn't appreciate him until I got older.
Oh, no, I always appreciated him.
Okay.
Yes.
And then, like, and I would always look back and I've seen the psychology, his promos. If you don't watch anything else, please watch when Mankind and The Rock were going to, I think it's against Big Show and maybe Undertaker. I can't remember. I think Undertaker, where they're going to have a tag team Buried Alive match. And Mick Foley does a song, like an impromptu Buried Alive song, to the tune of Burning Alive. So he goes, dun, 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 buried alive. And that's
golden,
amazing.
yes.
Yeah, so, yeah. Anyways, so I think that's a good place to end it.
Okay.
Been talking way too long.
Yeah, an hour.
So,
yeah.
I think you need...
I hope this turns out right. It's probably you're going to delete it somehow.
Why delete it on purpose? I don't
yeah.
know. But anyways, appreciate
you. All right, I had fun on the White Deer Entertainment Podcast.
Yeah, I still need that graphic, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I've been really busy on working on a lot of graphics.
Oh yeah, real quick, let's end on that.
Oh yeah.
I forgot about the one thing that I was gonna say.
It's okay. I'm a graphic designer. I do flyers and logos and.
So how'd you start that? Was it just a need to?
Yeah, a need for my own band, doing flyers for my own band.
And you went to school for it, right?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Went to school?
Just doing it all on my own, just teaching myself.
What was like some of the first programs for like people that are
I use GIMP a lot.
Okay.
I still use it a lot for a lot of it's a Linux-based program. It's free. If you don't want to spend money, if you just want to learn basic stuff, GIMP is the way to go.
Now, would you say like you have a certain style, or do you have something that you like, some kind of inspirations?
Would you say I have a certain style?
I mean, you do, but you don't.
Yeah, I like to throw a lot of different elements in there, but I feel like for the most part, you can tell it's mine whenever I do it.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I appreciate your flyers and your posters is everything's clean.
Yeah.
Like it has its place and everything's clean.
Yeah.
Because I tell people all the time, like whether it's music, comedy, fighting, pro wrestling, graphic design, whatever. Everything should be like easy to digest.
Oh yeah.
Because if you don't, like, I'm a fan of, speed metal, power metal.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's chaotic and it's all over the places, you want it easy listening.
Yes.
So, and the same thing with graphic design or artwork is you don't want people's eyes going everywhere. You want it on.
I always say the less letters, the best. So like the least amount of letters you can use is always your best route to go.
Well, and it's just easy to look at. There's no contrast. So
yeah. Not a lot of colors. Limit your colors. I mean, it all depends on what you're doing, but that's what you need to do.
So, any other tips for people getting in graphic design?
I don't really have any tips other than what I just told you.
Well, and I think it's important for people to branch out and try to do that because aside from you, there's maybe a few other people that do graphic design. Randall does graphic design.
Yeah.
I think. But
I will say don't use a vivid red ever because most of the time you're going to post it on Facebook and it looks like crap because Facebook compresses images and red is like the worst color whenever it gets compressed. So,
and real quick, I've seen some pretty shitty.
Oh, I've seen tons.
So
I have a folder dedicated to crappy flyers that I've seen people do, and I mean, you got to start somewhere. But it's like, man, there's people out there that do it. Just contact them. Contact me if you want a flyer done, please. I'll do it.
And anything that you want to plug? What do you? You want to plug your Instagram, your Facebook?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, Oberon Band on Instagram. Oberon. It's facebook.com/Oberon OK, and then Oberon.bandcamp.com. 3 big ways you can find us right there.
And then outside from the show this weekend and the show next week, you have any other shows in the...
I think we have something booked in March down in Texas, but I'm not sure. But nothing booked after next week, really. We're just working on getting a new album out.
Oh,
so
awesome.
Mixing.
Well, be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, man. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, you've been listening to the White Deer Entertainment Podcast.
With me, Jesse Whitedeer.
And DJ Bryant.